Alright, this is for Onyxia. Attempt number 53. Depression. Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday. It has come to my attention that I have not recorded anything for this week because, besides sitting at home and going to my real job, I don't really do anything that interesting. I don't really go that many places. So I'm going to have to start changing that. But I went and got my nails done today. So that was the first thing I wanted to do. I did this like burnt orange, and it turned out to be called Pumpkin Spice, which is hilarious. The only book that I have been reading so far this week is A Court of Mist and Fury because I need to finish it for my sequel Saturday video that's going to go up this Saturday, so I need to kind of hurry it along. But I'm at about the 58% mark, probably like 48 to 50% mark, and I am really enjoying it. I am not experiencing the same drag and the same feeling that I had with A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's really going by for me. I think that there's a massive improvement in the writing from the first book to the second, although I'd have to go back and experience the first one to really see if there was a progression. But I do feel as though the writing has improved. The glaring issues that I found before, as in like the over exorbitant use of adjectives, has seemed to have kind of been dialed back a little bit. But Sarah J. Maas will always be kind of flowery with her writing, but some people like that, and I am enjoying it thus far. It is not kind of as glaring as it was in the first book. I'm also finding that much how I found the first half of the first book to drag, like things were happening, but it not happening at the same time. I feel drastically different from the second go around because what we're experiencing in the second book, and I'm going to try not to go too much into it because I'm going to try to leave most of it for the sequel Saturday video, but Feyre seems to be going through a lot right now, and I think that what Sarah J. Maas is doing to Feyre's character right now is writing PTSD in quite a pretty good way. I think that the changes to Feyre's character are evident, and I think that Sarah J. Maas is doing a pretty good job at writing PTSD and what that's like, and how it is affecting her relationship with Tamlin, and of how she effectively decided to leave the situation. I also enjoy the fact that there is no like insta attraction or insta lust when it comes to Rhysand. They seem to be like developing a relationship that went from like enemies to rivals to allies to friends to lovers dynamic here, which I think is quite important that you have like all of the steps. So right now we're at the like allies to friends stage, and there's like some light flirtation, but it's only when you get to like the 40 to 50% mark that really starts to happen. If anybody wants an update about how I feel about Nesta, I still don't like her very much, but you know, maybe she'll grow on me. Other than that, this week has been kind of tame. I haven't been doing nearly as much stuff as I was doing last week. I spent Monday and Tuesday, besides the errands I had to run, playing World of Warcraft, catching up on some things. The pre-patch for Dragonflight is going to be dropping at the end of this month, so there is a experience buff for characters under level 60, so I've been kind of working on some alts and kind of spending some time by myself catching up on my YouTube watch later list and hanging out with my guildies and stuff. I want to discuss this as a gaming video, but there's a giant achievement that you can get that like you did everything in this expansion, and it's a meta achievement for the Veil Strider title, and I've been working towards that. So my guildies and I have been doing a lot of like intense grinding in Torghast, and it's just been a great time. And if that means nothing to you because you're here to hear me talk about books, then I'm very sorry, but that is what I have been up to so far this week. I'm going to go ahead and get ready, and I'm going to film the September wrap up and do the other things that I planned to do today. Today is filming day, so I will check in with you guys when I have more updates on A Court of Mist and Fury, although I am going to try to keep most of it to the sequel Saturday vlog, which will go up before this video anyway, so in reality does it really fucking matter. But the other book I plan to read this week is the Sunbearer Trials. I planned to finish A Court of Mist and Fury today and start the Sunbearer Trials, which I didn't read as much yesterday as I wanted to. I didn't make my my daily reading goal, so I'm gonna have to play catch up today if I want to finish A Court of Mist and Fury today and start the Sunbearer Trials tomorrow. So I'm going to try to catch up with that because I need to get through these library books. Like I gotta get it going with these library books if I want to get them back in time so that other people can read them. But if I have to check out like 2 or 3 for another 3 weeks, then fine. And then when I'm done, I will return them so that other people can read them. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready and film the September wrap up, and I will check in with you guys when I have more to say. Hello, super quick 3 a.m. check in to let y'all know that I finished A Court of Mist and Fury. I rated it 5 stars in case you did not see the video entitled Obsessing Over A Court of Mist and Fury for 35 minutes straight. That went up on Saturday, so 2 days ago. And I just downloaded A Botanist's Guide to Parties and Poisons by Kate Kavari. The reason why I was going to start the Sunbearer Trials next, but that is a physical book, and I am going to be working doubles today being Saturday and tomorrow being Sunday, and I gotta get cracking on some of these books. I only have like 8 days before I have to turn them in, which is weird because I feel like I just got these books like maybe 3 days ago. 3 weeks goes by really fast, so I'm gonna have to do something. But this book, at the very least, is much shorter than A Court of Mist and Fury was. That book altogether, it was very long. It, I think, said it took 11 hours to read. It took me a few days, but this book takes a little under 3 hours. So I'm hoping I can get this done within the next 2 days, and I could start reading the next couple of books because I really don't want to fall back into the cycle of constantly renewing my loans because I don't have time to read. So I'm going to prioritize the library books and then go from there because the Kindle Unlimited books I can return at any time. So I'm going to prioritize again the library books. So I'm going to do A Botanist's Guide to Parties and Poisons, and then I'll probably do there's an audiobook. There's like 2 audiobooks on Libby that I borrowed that I'll probably listen to in the beginning of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday I have a job interview at a library. So I'm excited. I'm hoping that I can get a second job, which may harm creativity production for quite some time, but I need it. So, oh, we've been joined by a guest. I had to take her collar off because she was being disruptive during my video filming, but she decided to come give us a visit. This is Pinecone. I guess Pinecone decided to grace us with her presence. So I have to be awake in 6 hours to go to work. So I'm going to go to bed, and the sequel Saturday video will be up in the morning. And we're going to start the next book and try to get it done by Monday. Get through 2 audiobooks, and then go from there. Go through the physical books after that. So we will see you guys in the next checkup. Hello, just checking in for a Saturday to early Sunday update. I started reading A Botanist's Guide to Poisons and Parties by Kate Kavari today, and I am at about the 20% mark, I believe. Yeah, I'm at the 18% mark. I'm on chapter 6, and it's really setting up a bit of a mystery here. So we have our girl Saffron. She is named after a plant, but she is a botanist. She is the daughter of a now deceased Viscount attending University College London. When I first started reading this, I thought it was taking place in about the 19th century, so I thought it was like Victorian in era because it seemed to be Victorian styled, but then Saffron gets on a 2-tiered bus, so it has to be taking place in at least the early 20th century. So our girl has been essentially cut off by her grandparents, who are still in ownership of her father's estate since her father has now passed. She did have a like a childhood lover, somebody that she intended to marry. It was her best friend's brother, and he passed away in the war, at the same war that her father passed away in. So now she lives with her bestie Elizabeth in a Chelsea flat, and she does, botany study at University College London. She works as a research assistant for a older professor. He's quite old and kooky. His name is Dr. Maxwell. And in the beginning of this story, Saffron is at a party and she is avoiding the department head because he's kind of gross, and there have been some rumors going around about her that we don't quite know about yet. So it seems to be illicit in nature. He seems to he's harassing her essentially. He is trying to basically get in her pants so that she can succeed, but then it causes vicious rumors about her. So I can only imagine what happened. It is at this dinner where a bunch of professors from across multiple departments are meeting for a dinner party to discuss the voyage into the Amazon to categorize a lot of plants. This seems to be a dangerous excursion. They're basically going on their own Charles Darwin experience to the Amazon rainforest to catalog new plants, animals, insects, etc. And Saffron finds out that her professor, Dr. Maxwell, that she works for, applied to go behind her back and then was rejected. So he's not feeling his best self. And we sort of meet a couple of the other people who are involved here in this dinner party. So we have a Dr. Henry who is a super flirt. He reminded me of Indiana Jones, actually. Dr. Henry. He has a wife that knows that her husband has cheated on her multiple times, so she is very cold. She doesn't really give a shit anymore. In an effort to kind of get away from the department head that is harassing her, Saffron kind of ends up in the hallway and she bumps into a young colleague of hers. His name is Alexander Ashton, and they kind of it's obvious that they're going to be the love interests here. He's young and dorky and cute, and he studies bacteria. What a nerd. But they end up in this hallway and they overhear Mrs. Dr. Henry and another wife discussing how the money for this excursion was gotten by solicitors. It was not raised by donors, it was gotten by solicitors, which is a pretty big deal. And then they all reconvene into this meeting room, and then as they do the champagne toast, Mrs. Dr. Henry falls to the ground and nearly dies because she's poisoned. So at the point of the story that I'm in, everybody is being questioned by the police to kind of figure out what happened to Mrs. Dr. Henry and see what's going on. And Dr. Maxwell seems to be an explicit person of interest. Saffron notices he's been acting really weird, but Saffron, when she's questioned by the police, brings up a really good point because the champagne was being given out freely, so anybody's glass could have been poisoned. So it's really, we're unable to figure out at this point who was meant to be poisoned, why, and by who. So we're kind of in a kerfuffle right now where Saffron is trying to figure out why Dr. Maxwell is a person of interest. And then she goes to the greenhouse where all of her plants are. She checks on all the plants, and she notices that a particular poisonous plant, there's a sliver that is missing off of it, and the sliver that is missing, the cut is still so clean that it hasn't started to grow back yet, and nobody really fucks with this plant. It's just kind of allowed to vine its way up the greenhouse because it is so dangerous that most people don't want to handle it. So all the greenhouse I don't want to say overseer, the greenhouse person in charge, all he does is basically water the plant and leave it alone. But Saffron notices that a piece of the plant is now missing. So she's trying to fit the pieces together as to how her innocent, sweet Dr. Maxwell would ever be implicated in such a crime. But then she's also what if? What's going on here? So there's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of intrigue. I'm very curious as to what's going on. I am assuming that Saffron ends up going on the excursion to the Amazon. If she doesn't, I'll be a little bit surprised. But that's where I'm at right now. I am really intrigued. This is going to be a quicker read than A Court of Mist and Fury was. A Court of Mist and Fury was an 11-hour read that took me at least 4 or 5 days to read. This is only a 3-hour read. I'm hoping to finish by either Sunday night, which would be tonight because it's 1:30 in the morning on Sunday, or on Monday, so I can get started on some of the other books. I'm going to try to blaze through the audiobooks that I have because I'll have some days off, and then read the books that I need to read, paper, hardcover books. I'm going to try to read those on other days, or maybe the other way around. I'm not quite sure. because I can blaze through an audiobook pretty fast because I do listen to them on 2.x speed. So while I'm like resting from my busy weekend at work, I can usually like game and listen to an audiobook at the same time and kind of multitask there. So I don't know, it really depends on what I have to do, but that's where I am right now. I'm actually going to get ready for bed and try to get a little bit further in it before I go to bed. Like I said, I'm already at nearly the 20% mark, and I started it last night, and I've maybe read like a half hour or 45 minutes of the book. So it's going by pretty fast. I'm speeding my way through it, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying the mystery. This would be our first like mystery book of the holiday Halloween season. So I'm excited to see where the story goes, and I will keep you guys updated as to how I feel about it. So yeah, I'll just keep on going, and I'll check in with you guys later. So I got home from work after doubling 2 days in a row. I watched House of the Dragon with my mom, which if Patty Constantine or Constantine, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, if he doesn't get his fucking Emmy, he got robbed. Literally one of the best actors on the show. Anyway, I got distracted with researching the candidates for the Missouri election because that's coming up next month. Double triple check that I was registered to vote. And then I like researched all the candidates because I'm new to the state, so I don't this is my first election here, so I just wanted to make sure that I knew what the fuck was going on because it's, not in Florida anymore, so I wanted to make sure I knew what was going on. I have not really gotten that much further into A Botanist Guides of Parties Unpoisoned, but I'm going to kind of wind down and continue reading it. It's Sunday, and I need to edit and post this reading vlog, and I didn't exactly post it in farewell, so I wanted to check back in. As of right now, our heroine Saffron impersonated Maxwell's niece to get into the police station because he has been falsely implicated in the poisoning of Mrs. Dr. Henry, and now she is going to figure out a way to prove him innocent. She is set on making sure that he is set free from the police and figure out what happened. And as a result, she has taken, after noticing that the plant that was super poisonous, and they thought that Dr. Maxwell used a plant of his own discovery to poison Mrs. Dr. Henry. Saffron decided to take a piece of the plant and poison herself, using Dr. Maxwell's notes to document her own experience with the poisoning and how she survived it, to then, I'm guessing, compare with the doctors for Mrs. Dr. Henry to show that it was not the same thing. So I guess her thinking is that either somebody used the plant or they used something that was so similar that they're trying to frame Dr. Maxwell, that they went and trimmed a piece of the plant off of the vine and then never used it, just used something similar in an attempt to frame Dr. Maxwell. So she is in the middle of her poisoning journey right now. We're about 23% of the way through. So I'm going to kind of wind down for the night and see what I can get done. It is currently 2:30 in the morning, so I'm going to quickly edit this and get this ready to be up by 10 a.m. and then read. And then tomorrow I'm going to finish this and start something else. So I got to get cracking. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm also very tired, so we're going to get it moving. But with all that being said, thank you so much for sticking around. This reading vlog has been a little boring because I've been busy with work, and next week I am only working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I am doubling Friday, Saturday, so it's going to be a great time, to say the least. So I am going to be really busy. I have a job interview on Thursday morning, but otherwise I'm going to spend Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday reading and gaming and creating content for you guys. So I'm really excited, and I will see you guys in the next reading vlog. Hopefully it'll be more fruitful than this one. So bye.